Remember those old movies from the 80s and 90s? The ones where families would gather around the TV, eyes wide as spaceships soared across the screen and robots served dinner with a smile? We were promised flying cars zipping through the sky, robot butlers who'd handle every chore, and homes filled with gadgets that anticipated our every need. Commercials showed families waking up to breakfast made by machines, and movies painted a world where technology erased every inconvenience. The future was sold as a destination, shiny, easy, and perfect. Cities gleamed with chrome and glass, and every problem seemed to have a sleek, high-tech solution. It was more than fantasy. It was a cultural promise, echoed by media, magazines, and even our families. Headlines declared that the future was just around the corner, and every new gadget felt like a step closer to paradise. We were told all the hard work was done. The future would simply arrive, gift-wrapped, and all we had to do was enjoy it. But now, it's 2026. No flying cars overhead, just traffic jams and honking horns. The closest we get to futuristic travel is an electric scooter, left sideways on the curb. My Roomba gets stuck under the couch, and my smart speaker can't even understand half my questions. Instead of robot butlers, we have gadgets that need constant troubleshooting. The utopian future never arrived. Some of the boldest visions are now abandoned, left to gather dust or rust in forgotten corners of our cities. Instead, we face a reality that's messier and more complicated. Our days are filled with stress, delays, and technology that sometimes makes things harder, not easier. The gap between what we were promised and what we got is huge. The dream was seamless and spectacular. The reality is full of glitches and letdowns. It's like we followed a map to a city that was never built. The plans were grand, but the foundations never took hold. We did everything right, followed the instructions, but ended up somewhere unexpected, lost in a maze of half-finished dreams. The future isn't a fixed destination. It's a shifting landscape, always changing, always just out of reach. Now, we have to navigate it without a map, charting our own course through uncertainty, one step at a time. Beyond the shimmering dreams of science fiction, there was a practical promise, one rooted in decades of post-war prosperity and optimism. This was the blueprint for the good life, a vision shaped by both policy and culture. From a young age, we were told, study hard, get good grades, go to college. This was the foundation, reinforced by teachers, parents, and guidance counselors who believed education was the golden ticket. Graduate, land a stable job, climb the corporate ladder, and the company would take care of you. Pensions, benefits, and a sense of belonging. My own father would come home in his suit, briefcase in hand, proud of the security he provided. With a steady career, you'd buy a home, often in the suburbs, get married, have kids, and provide them a better life than you had. The white picket fence wasn't just a symbol, it was an expectation. This was the American dream, a narrative sold as a guarantee if you followed the rules. It was everywhere. In commercials, in politics, in the stories we told ourselves. Movies, TV, and family gatherings reinforced this comforting linear path. I remember watching sitcoms where every problem was solved in 30 minutes, and the future always looked bright. Stability, security, and contentment were the promised rewards. Saving for a rainy day, planning for retirement, and building generational wealth were not just goals. They were obligations. The future wasn't a question. It was an answer waiting for you, as long as you stayed on the path. I remember the pride in my parents' eyes when my college acceptance letter arrived. It felt like destiny. But this blueprint was more than advice. It was a social contract, an unspoken agreement between generations, employers, and the state. If you worked hard, success was inevitable. That was the promise. Repeated so often it became a kind of faith, or so we were told. There's a strange quiet in the air as we wake, blueprint in hand, its edges soft from years of hope and handling. The city outside our window glows with the first light, but it feels unfamiliar, as if we've stepped into someone else's morning. We blink, and the world we once knew has shifted beneath our feet. The streets hum with new rhythms, old landmarks replaced by glass and steel. The air tastes different, charged with possibility, but also uncertainty. The promise of a stable, lifelong career, once as solid as the morning coffee, has evaporated. The familiar buzz of office chatter is now just a memory, replaced by empty cubicles and the cold flicker of fluorescent lights. Instead, we find ourselves piecing together a living from gig work, short contracts, and side hustles. Each day demands reinvention, a constant hustle that leaves us both exhausted and alert, always scanning for the next opportunity. The whir of machines and the silent logic of algorithms have swept through our industries. Automation and AI erase old jobs with a quiet efficiency, even as they conjure up new roles we never imagined, roles we scramble to understand. The career ladder we were promised has twisted into a jungle gym, no longer a straight climb, but a maze of swings, leaps, and uncertain footholds. We cling, we swing, we hang on, hoping not to fall. College, once painted as the golden ticket, now feels like a gamble. The weight of student debt presses on our shoulders, each bill a reminder that the future we bought into came with a heavy price. Home ownership, that old symbol of arrival, drifts further out of reach. We scroll through listings, hearts sinking as prices climb and wages stand still. The dream house becomes a mirage. So we settle into rented spaces, making homes out of what we can afford. We're called the renter generation, not because we chose it, but because the world left us little choice. The old promises, job security, affordable homes, debt-free beginnings, have faded into rare exceptions. The blueprint we carried is cracked and broken, its lines leading us somewhere we never expected. So, what happened? How did the future we were promised slip away so quietly? The unraveling began with a series of profound economic and technological shifts. According to labor economists, the 1980s and 90s saw the decline of manufacturing as globalization and automation took hold. Factories moved overseas, and machines replaced millions of jobs. Stable, well-paying factory jobs vanished. In 1980, manufacturing made up 22% of U.S. employment. By 2020, it was less than 9%. The loss was not just economic, but cultural. Entire communities were left behind. These jobs were replaced by less secure service and tech roles. The rise of the internet in the late 90s and early 2000s rewired the economy. As MIT's David Otter notes, technology created new opportunities, but also deepened inequality. The gig economy exploded. By 2023, over 36% of U.S. workers participated in gig or freelance work. Automation accelerated, with robots and algorithms taking over routine tasks. 1 in 4 U.S. jobs is now at high risk of automation, according to a Brookings Institution report. Productivity soared, but wages stagnated. Since 1979, worker productivity has grown nearly 70%, while hourly pay rose just 12%. Meanwhile, the cost of living climbed relentlessly. Housing, healthcare, and education costs outpaced wage growth, squeezing the middle class. The old promise, work hard, get ahead, became harder to keep. For many, it now feels like running in place. Sociologist Arne Kalleberg calls it the rise of precarious work, jobs that are unstable, underpaid, and offer few benefits. The result? Not just economic stress, but a growing sense of insecurity and loss. Mental health experts warn of rising anxiety and depression linked to financial instability. The mental toll is amplified by a hyper-connected world. A 2022 Pew survey found that 64% of Americans feel overwhelmed by information overload and constant digital demands. The system didn't just glitch, it was fundamentally rewritten. The rules that once governed work, security, and progress were quietly erased. And now, the old rules are gone, leaving us to navigate a future that looks nothing like the one we were promised. To understand why the future we were promised quietly disappeared, we have to look beyond just economics and examine the deeper cultural and technological shifts that shaped our world. Globalization and rapid technological change moved jobs wherever labor and automation were cheapest, eroding local security and transforming entire industries almost overnight. The cultural narrative shifted from collective progress and shared prosperity to a focus on individual achievement, consumerism, and maximizing shareholder value, leaving many behind. Social contracts that once bound communities together faded, replaced by market-driven priorities and a belief that competition would solve all problems. Repeated crises, the dot-com bust, 9/11, the 2008 financial crash, the pandemic, and the looming threat of climate change, shook our optimism and sense of stability. The 2008 crisis especially shattered trust in institutions and the promise of upward mobility, exposing how fragile our systems had become. The environmental crisis revealed the limits of endless growth, confronting us with the reality that our way of life was built on unsustainable foundations. Now, anxiety isn't just about jobs or homes, it's about the future of the planet, the stability of our societies, and whether progress is even possible. The future faded, not just because of one event, but because the foundation it was built on, economic certainty, social cohesion, and technological optimism, proved unsustainable in the face of relentless change. But here's the twist: humans adapt. Every generation faces upheaval, but today's youth are responding in a way that's never been seen before. Gen Z and millennials aren't just mourning the lost future, they're remixing the pieces, taking what's left and making something new, blending influences from everywhere. The single career path is out, portfolio careers are in, multiple income streams, side hustles, passion projects. It's the gig economy, but also the remix economy, where skills and interests overlap and evolve. Flexibility and autonomy are valued over rigid stability. Work is no longer a place, it's a network, a set of connections, a series of projects that can be remixed and reimagined. New forms of community are emerging: co-living, online support networks, mutual aid. Digital spaces become gathering places, where ideas and resources are shared and remixed. Collective resilience is replacing individual success as the goal. It's about lifting each other up, remixing support systems to fit new realities. Creativity thrives. Digital natives use tech to build, share, and solve. Remix culture means nothing is finished. Everything can be reworked, improved, or transformed. Podcasts, apps, art, activism. No permission needed from old gatekeepers. Anyone can remix the culture, and anyone can spark change. We're building our own platforms and telling our own stories. The tools of creation are in everyone's hands, and the audience is global. Ambition isn't gone, it's just redefined. Success is measured in impact, creativity, and connection, not just titles or salaries. The remix generation is inventing a new way forward, one that's collaborative, experimental, and open to everyone. The future is being rebuilt, piece by piece, remixed from the fragments of what came before, and shaped by the creativity of a generation that refuses to give up. If the old blueprint is obsolete, what's the new one? It's not something handed down from above, but something we create side by side, layer by layer, idea by idea. It's not a single document, it's open source, written together. In cities around the world, neighbors gather to reimagine public spaces, coders build tools for everyone, and students co-author new solutions to old problems. Lifelong learning is key. Curiosity is the most valuable skill. In one town, retirees teach coding to kids, while in another, a group of friends starts a science club for adults, proving that learning never stops. Purpose and well-being matter more than just money. Across communities, people are redefining success, prioritizing mental health, connection, and meaning in their daily lives. People seek work that aligns with their values and allows for balance, like the designer who left a big firm to start a co-op, or the parent who found a job that fits around family. These stories are becoming the new normal. Success is now measured by life quality and community impact. In one city, a group of volunteers transformed a vacant lot into a thriving garden, showing how small acts can ripple outward. Collaboration is central. Co-ops, open-source projects, creator partnerships. From artists painting murals together to engineers building open-source hardware, innovation thrives when we join forces. We're stronger when we lift each other up. Every breakthrough, every step forward is built on shared effort and mutual support. Flexibility is essential. The world keeps changing, so must we. Teams that adapt, switching roles, learning new tools, are the ones that thrive. There's freedom in not having a single path. Some find their calling early, others reinvent themselves again and again. Each journey is valid. We're not just following a map, we're making it. Every contribution, every new idea, redraws the lines for all of us. The future is a collective project. Together, we're building a new blueprint, one that's richer, more inclusive, and always evolving. It's natural to feel a sense of loss for the future that never arrived, the one we saw in movies, in dreams, in the promises of yesterday. But as the writer Rebecca Solnit once said, hope is not a lottery ticket you can sit on the sofa and clutch, feeling lucky. It is an axe you break down doors with in an emergency. We can't let disappointment define us. Instead, we can choose to become the authors of what comes next, to shape the world with our own hands and hearts. The end of the old path is not just a loss, it's an invitation. Each blank page is a chance to imagine something better, to write a new story together. Hope isn't passive, it's an active, daily choice, a belief that our actions, no matter how small, can ripple outward and change the world. As Václav Havel said, hope is not the conviction that something will turn out well, but the certainty that something makes sense, regardless of how it turns out. Hope is found in the smallest acts: planting a garden that feeds a neighborhood, learning a skill that sparks innovation, raising your voice for justice. Hope is a verb, a practice, a movement. Look around. Resilience and creativity are everywhere. People are building community gardens in empty lots, inventing new ways to connect, and dreaming up solutions to problems we once thought unsolvable. Despite unprecedented challenges, we're not giving up. We're launching businesses that put people and planet first, creating art that inspires, fighting for justice, and supporting each other through every storm. We're normalizing mental health, pushing for inclusivity, and leading on climate, proving that a better world is possible. The future's pages are unwritten. Yes, that can be scary. But it's also liberating. As poet Emily Dickinson wrote, "Hope is the thing with feathers that perches in the soul." We are free to imagine, to create, to build something new. We're free to define what a meaningful, sustainable life looks like. One where technology serves humanity, where communities thrive, where the planet heals, and where everyone has a voice. The story is ours to write. The unwritten pages are waiting. Let's fill them with hope, courage, and possibility. For decades, we imagined the future as a fixed destination, a gleaming endpoint waiting for us to arrive, fully formed and inevitable. But the truth is, the future is a living process, shaped every day by the choices we make, the risks we take, and the values we uphold. We can't afford to wait for change to simply happen. We must roll up our sleeves and build it, one action at a time. This is both a responsibility and a privilege. Each of us has a role to play in shaping what comes next. We have more tools, knowledge, and collective power than any generation before us. Start small. Volunteer in your community, support local initiatives, or mentor someone just starting out. Progress is rarely smooth. Expect setbacks, mistakes, and moments of doubt. But every experiment, every lesson learned, brings us closer to the world we want to see. Remember, you're not alone. Lean on your community, collaborate, and lift each other up when the path gets tough. Our greatest strength lies in our global connections, sharing ideas, resources, and hope across borders and backgrounds. Let go of the ghost of the promised future, the glossy predictions and easy answers. They were just stories, not blueprints. Now, it's our turn to write a new story, one built on resilience, creativity, and the power of community. Take initiative. Organize a neighborhood cleanup, start a conversation about sustainability, or join a movement that matters to you. The future isn't a place we simply arrive at. It's the world we build together, through our daily actions and shared dreams. So let's get to work. The future is ours to create, and I can't wait to see what we accomplish side by side.